Well, look what I found in my tub of old things. Which actually there's several tubs of old things. This is personal attack alarm. Yeah, I opened it up upside down. These came out in the 90s, and in my opinion, since it's actually still in its package here, probably pretty useless, because these will put out a sound of 107 dBs, which would muffle the screaming of a person. Now, if a female was being attacked, should she have one of these that makes a sound like a car alarm, or just scream and fight at the top of her lungs using words like help, help? Other words probably would work also pretty good, because that's going to catch the attention of people. This would just be ignored. So let's see what they say about it. It's a personal attack alarm. The POW alarm. I think they're repeating themselves there. There's instructions. Open it up. Stick battery in. Put screws in. That's good enough. Let's see what certifications, if anything. Oh, it's guaranteed to have quality. I think this company's actually still around. So I'm not bad-mouthing you. I just don't believe the product's a good idea. And what do you get with it? A battery. And it didn't leak. Battery's probably almost 30 years old. And then you also have this. So the whole idea is once you assemble it. Oh, I see, there's a twist tie there. Once you have the battery in it, and you've got this in here, if you were attacked, the idea is that as soon as you pull this out, the contact releases and connects, and it attaches the battery to the piezo and makes a lot of noise. So, I'm going to first off check out to see if this battery's still good. Let me grab a meter. Handy meter in the drawer. Oops, overshot by one. Set on DC. 0.5 of a volt. I'm not going to criticize the battery for... oh, good. Okay, let's see if I can get the close-up on this. I'll bring the camera down to it. Get a nice background. I would say this was in the process of failing. It's bulged. Oh yeah, and that side's bulged too. But that's not bad for a battery that's probably 30 years old. And it's not inside an instrument. So, I'm going to adjust everything and then start tearing this thing apart. Oh yeah. Best installed before January 98. It is now end of 2024. So let's see what's inside this. One spludger. Comes apart pretty easy. I do have a battery, so let's see how noisy this gets. But it is the evening time, so I don't want to disturb the neighbors too much. So I'm going to muffle it a lot. And then make sure I can actually plug this thing back in quickly. Oh, sorry. Guess I should have warned you about headphones. So, it does make a fair amount of noise. I think actually your voice would come out well over this thing, but as I say, it sounds like a car alarm to me now. So let's see what's inside here. We have foam, we have plastic. Yeah, that doesn't want to come out. It looks like I'm just going to have to rip this stuff out of the way. I'm going to take a close-up of this, figure out the best way to pull it apart. So there doesn't appear to be too much in here. One screw here. And then this pulls out. Looks like these pull out probably. Grab something to pull on with. Okay. Didn't say it was going to go back together. There we go. And might as well take the other piece out. And one goes to this piezo. I pulled the screw out of this thing. Wonder if it's just glued in there a bit. I'll probably pull it back a bit. There we go. Let's see if I can pop out the piezo. Oop, I missed. No blood. There we go. And there's the piezo element. It looks like it just pops right out. Or not. Oh, yeah, it's glued in there. Okay. Let's see if we can come at it from this side. Yeah, well, that pops out quite nicely. Nah, there's nothing there. Just glue. Maybe I'll try some ISO. And now I'll let it sit. As an intermission, the dunking bird is dunking away. And no, I did not give it Crown Royal. These things actually require maintenance. It stopped dunking for a while. And what it was the whole top part there was encased in probably calcium because of the hardness of the water here. So I had to drop it into vinegar for a while and it's back up and working. Now, back to the electronics. It doesn't look like the ISO is going to release this thing. They used proper glue instead of something like hot glue. So I'll just snip it for the time being. And if I wanted to reassemble, snip it at different locations so I know which is which. Oops. I'm going to have to adjust the focus on this. So here's a close-up of the one side of the board. And once I figure out what chip that is I'll put it up in the corner there. And there's the other side. So I'm now going to do up a schematic for this. So here's the circuit, and cleaned up a tiny bit. So basically you've got the 9 volts, normally open switch. When you pull the pin, it then closes. You got a diode to protect in case they hook up the battery the back way. And the power is going to pin 14. We'll look at this side first. Power comes down to the transformer, which primary is going over to the transistor. It's an 80-50 to the collector. And then the secondary is going over, which probably has a lot more windings, to the piezo. For the transistor, you've got a resistor R7, which is 2.2K, and it's hooked up to pins 2 and 4. The circuit board actually wasn't too hard to follow, except they did have some traces going underneath the chip. The chip is an NJU 4069 UB, and I couldn't find it. But I suspect what it's doing is, since there's a bit of a wobble in the sound on the alarm, is that it's switching between different capacitor and resistor setups to give the different frequencies. On this side, it's basically resistors, capacitors, resistors, capacitor. This one actually, I'm like looking for where the negative side is, and it was a non-polarized capacitor. Right there. Hopefully it's focused. So that's about it for it. Without knowing what chip it is, can't say much. This part here was a BT9012. Yeah, I already said what the transistor was. The rest is pretty simple. Straightforward resistors and capacitors. So, that's it for this one. Have a good day.